Now we need to talk about football. There is a problem or there is a challenge in Kenyan football. And I've told you I have a lawyer, an advocate, someone who has been in football management for almost his entire life. Has been, of course, with the Football Kenya Federation in the previous regimes, knows the runnings of football, knows the running of FKF and national team. Of course, without much further ado, welcome very much Robert Asembo himself. Yes,
Thank you, Tony.
Asante sana. He has worked with football. Asembo, we have a problem with, we have hearing reports here and there that FKF cannot run its daily activities. And that, of course, has trickled into, apparently we hear the salaries of the national team, Harambee Stars coach, Sebastian Minye. We have some pictures of those. But what are you hearing? You, of course, but let me start first of all. Who is supposed to pay? I mean, how is the payment for a coach supposed to be? You have dealt with this, you've been FKF, you have paid coaches. How is the payment supposed to be? Is it supposed to be the government straight to Sebastian Minye? Is it through the FKF? How is this supposed to happen?
Very well. The level of responsibility actually is a question to look at. It's a matter that needs to be delved into. But the whole idea is that the federation may desire to pay the coach, and that's always the case anyway, because the coach is the employee. But the source of finance is also the other factor to consider, because we may have a situation whereby the government, let's say the Ministry of Sports, chooses to pay the coach. And because they are funding the whole salary, which must be a good salary for a coach of any good stature, especially to take the national team to any competition that is worth its name. So you find that the figures are very, very, very high, oftentimes in millions a month, and that's where the problem begins. So the good arrangement should be that we have the federation and the government agree clearly on how they'll go about this coach payment issue. I think that's the best scenario.
But tell me, Asembo, as in you when you were there,
yes,
how are you paying the coach? Was were you paying directly to the? How does it go? I mean, when you were in when you're in power at FKF.
In our time, the government remitted the salary to our account, to FKF accounts, and then FKF forwarded the same to the coach. But it was very clear between the three, the coach, the central government, and the federation, that the whole thing will work out in a known way and in a particular style and manner.
Mm-hmm. So most definitely, right now, there is a problem with FKF. What are you hearing? Of course, I know you have your people on the ground.
Well,
kuna watu wako kwa mashinani, lazima wakue wamekuambia either there is
I think the main issue
problem.
I hear about FKF right now is that they are decrying the freezing of their accounts by the KRA over some unremitted tax. And my advice is very simple. The tax regime in this country allows for a lot of alternative dispute resolution. And once you are served with the tax demand or the notice of assessment, it's not the first time it has happened in the soccer sector or in the sports industry. We saw it with the FC Leopards a while back, we saw it with Gor Mahia most recently, and now it's the federation. All they need to do is to engage the taxman, and there are many ways of solving going about tax issues. One of which is that we have the tax appeals tribunal, whereby anybody, even you, Tony, when KRA serves with a notice demanding some tax which you really are not sure about, or you doubt the amounts in it, you have the right to write to them within 30 days. And if they don't respond, you can file a notice to the appeal, the tribunal that is already set up by law from 2015, I think. 2013, sorry. The act is the 2013 act. Alternatively, the KRA and the modern regime of law allows alternative dispute resolution whereby you can have a mediation over the whole issue. So there should not be really an excuse on the side of the federation that their works, that their staff, that everything is coming to a standstill, ostensibly out of the fact that KRA is demanding some dues. There must be a way forward, and it calls for such initiatives as I've already described, of seeking an appeal in the tribunal or having a mediation process take off.
Most definitely. And of course, also players, I mean, the coach, if you hear the coach is not being paid, then I'm imagining what the kind of people he is leading, what are they going through.
So maybe perhaps the major issue could be that, because I know from the word go, FKF may not afford the salary of a good coach. I've told you it runs into millions a month, maybe a couple of millions, 3, 4.
2 or 3 years.
Yeah. So with such amount of money, the federation may not support that directly. So they need to source from the government. So either there could be delays on the part of the government, or the whole arrangement, the contractual terms and obligations may not be reflective of what was initially thought about when they were getting the arrangement. Secondly, could also be a factor that when the coach is succeeding, like beating Ghana, beating Malawi, and plus the assignment ahead.
Yes, next month against Ethiopia away home.
Maybe the coach has raised also other demands. Or perhaps the arrangement was that after some time they'll look into more other needs of the coach, maybe fringe benefits such as car, housing, and other allowances. I think those could be the major issues of contention. And you'll find that the government will now be resisting that. The government may be out just to deliver the salary. And also it's possible that from the initial arrangement, FKF had undertaken to take care of other allowances that may arise, as the government now deals with the main salary. So I believe those could be the areas of concern that are the gray areas.
But I'm also understanding also there is this money that the Treasury is getting from betting companies.
Yes.
And it runs into billions of Kenya shillings. So definitely that supplements also the budget that is under CSHSR. So definitely there shouldn't be an excuse that there is no one who is giving money to someone.
No. Actually, the reality is that in this country, and unfortunately so, because you've seen other countries, especially the West African sports countries that do well in sports and in football in particular, the government puts at the fore the games such as football. But in our country here, sports ministry is second rate and is never given the real priority that we think. Even the budget of the national team, I mean, it's meant like on a dishing out basis, that there must be a crisis. And in all sectors, all kind of sports disciplines, you find this scenario whereby people want to go to participate in an event, which is an international event, carrying the Kenyan flag. Now they must go begging for some intervention, and the last minute intervention really. It's a sad set of affairs. But the whole idea is that we need to have our government prioritize sports and treat sports as a real core and eccentric aspect of our social and economic engagement and development. Why do I say so? Because if you look at the population that participates in sports, it's a youth population. Now, the youth constitute, I think, the largest percentage of our population. Yeah. And then we say that we want to have a government that is sensitive to the youth, focused on youth issues. And I think the first primary place to focus on the youth should be in the sports and other related aspects like their natural talent, acting, art, music, culture, some funny things that the youths do to hustle. Let me use the word to hustle.
Yes, most certainly.
So if you look at the budget of, let's say, Ghanaian Football Federation, okay, it will run to more than, if not 3 times, the budget of the entire Ministry of Sports of the Republic of Kenya. And with such limited finances, I do not even think that the betting tax can be targeted towards the sports, really. Okay. I don't think they deliberately say that we'll tax the betting and then we'll fund sports. I don't think that's the ideology the government practices. Yeah. It must be far off that. The budget, they take the consolidated fund, then the Treasury says, now which ministries we rank in priority? And you find sports down there. Yes. And so many times you'll find this unfortunate scenario of having our sports not well funded by the central government. So yet the key factor really is that, or rather the real reality is that in a developing country such as Kenya, the government drives many other players in supporting certain sectors. So if we want to really increase sponsorship in sports, we must have also the government give more towards the sports first. Yeah, then the sponsors will be attracted.
Very true. Quickly as we wind up, there is a football fan or a football owner, my director can play. But this one, of course, is an event that happened in March this year in Greece, whereby an official, an owner, Ivan Savidis, an owner of PAOK, P-A-O-K Salonika, is a team that currently sits in second place in the top flight league in Greece. And this guy had a gun, walked onto the pitch, started confronting match officials of the other team. It was AEK Athens. That's a game AEK Athens against PAOK Salonika. You can imagine someone with a gun walking onto a pitch, footballers, you're enjoying a game, then he starts confronting Asembo. And then the same thing has been repeated here in Kericho. Zoo Kericho versus Bandari.
It's very sad.
It is a very sad affair. I mean, as we just wind up, I mean, this should not be happening on us.
Really, that's an unsporting conduct of a grave magnitude, because you want a sports arena or a venue to be free where people enjoy the game, and then people are not worried of their security. You know, people must throw off the security concerns. Like when we're in the stadium, let's say at Kasarani, and it is full packed, we must cast our cares away from the worries of security and the rest. We want to focus on the game, jump out as much as we can, shout, yell, cheer, all that. But now when you see this kind of behavior,
I'm sure you never handled it during your regime.
that even targets now the main people on the pitch.
It's
So really it is intimidating, and it's not free and fair, and it will really water away the essence of sports. And I fear really for the officials and the real players who now go to the pitch and then they are worried about their security. Security actually is a key issue, and that's why we have prevent meetings.
Yes, and planning.
Yes.
So this one lies with KPL as we wind up.
So this
KPL,
is for the
or is
match
it the federation?
organizers.
As you just wind up, 10 seconds.
Absolutely, this is for the match organizers, who are the KPL. They must ensure that in their matches there is adequate security.
Yes.
If it is the federation hosting a national event, again their mandate is very clear that they must take charge of security. And of course, it's not about them having their own police and the rest. It's about working with the other security agencies also to support such endeavor of safe environment for the matches and the games.
Most definitely. And of course, our very own should be Karen Kibet, I call her Marakwet, should be on the beat to find out exactly where that issue is. Jack Oguda of the Kenya Premier League CEO will be able, of course, to give us the information on the reports that they have received from the match officials, because they have to get those reports and act on it. It's not allowed. Wezi beba chuma unapeleka kwa uwanja na tumevaa manati. Tuko na manati already. Mimi unaleta chuma. Shida yako ni nini?
Aje kuvaa
jacket wacha. Vaa tracksuit. Mimi nanga kwa pitch na makala na shorts na maskuembe. That's the only chuma nakwanga nayo. This is Ketan. What's up? Mwenda Ramzi, asante sana kwa Garsen, Paul Muia, Kirigo, Mbukinya Kenya, Emma Kogoshia, Roy Kome, Brian Montesico, Bob Owino, Brian Kiprono, Montesuka, Geoffrey Korir, Nyimko, wengi sana. Thank you so much. Remember, your following stories are for you. And my guest today, of course, that is not new to you, is a former Football Kenya Federation top official. That is Robert Asembo, who's also an advocate. Unafanya ngapi kazi bado? Unajua sijajua. Sema tu in 2 seconds.
Nimejiandika kazi kama Asembo and Company Advocate, lakini pia bado na serve sports, niko kwa Sports Tribunal. Yes. Nafanya sana zile kesi sana za anti-doping.
Okay.
Na hizi feud zote za federation zingine hata ajua kama iko.
Ndio hiyo, ajua ndio hiyo. K24 Sports Hub, Tony Kwalanda. Good afternoon.